I think that he felt that he had to bond everybody together, and maybe the best way to do it was to get everybody mad at him and we'll show him, you know, one of those kind of approaches. And it worked. It worked in the respect that he got a lot of reaction out of players.
There was no intentional conspiracy for them to throw their hatred at me. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. That they probably still hate me. And
you know, hey, that's all in the past. You know, hey, we're having good times now. We can go back and say, hey, we were world champs in 1980. Hey, Dallas, you're a great guy. You know, shake his hand. And I had fun with Dallas. I mean, you know, there's no hard feelings there.
I have a lot of respect for Dallas. Dallas and I have since discussed, you know, what happened in 1980 and afterwards. But I have a lot of respect for Dallas. And now that I'm in business for myself, I really understand what it's like to deal with a disgruntled employee.
I don't think we win a World Series without Dallas Green. He kept us on our toes. He took the heat off us and took it himself. He knew whose button to push.
Dallas was great because Dallas is a no-nonsense guy, and he's an intimidating figure because he's so big.
Well, obviously there were two people I think that were instrumental in that team getting over the hump. The first, and more importantly, it was Pete Rose. The second was Dallas Green. In my mind, the Phillies do not win in 1980 if Dallas Green's not the manager.
Ultimately, between Dallas and Pete, we all wanted their respect. I don't know that, I think we needed both of them in a certain kind of way. Pete in the clubhouse, Dallas for the leadership. It was good. It worked out really well.
Yeah, I guess he was the ultimate gambler. He went with the hot hand, and he came out on top.
I think it's just marvelous the way this Kansas City ball club have come back in both the 8th and the 9th inning and threatened this Phillies ball club. It's popped up. Boone, Rose, they'll have a play.
If you look at where this thing happened, it's at the end of our dugout. It's 20 steps for Pete and maybe 80 steps for me. I know I'm getting close to the steps. I know this is Pete's ball, but I don't hear him.
Because bases were loaded, I was deep, almost out by the right field line. So it was a lot harder for me to get there, and he was a lot closer.
And so as I got there, I'm waiting and I don't hear Pete. And I was getting mad. I'm saying, where is the son of a gun?
Booney's absolutely right. That probably was my ball if I'd have been holding somebody on.
And so I went up for the rebound and I dropped it and I was so mad. I had so many emotions.
It was indicative of how him and I both play. We play hard, we play alert, we play aggressive. We were just both slow.
The only thing I ask people to do when they watch this is saying, you tell me who hustled on this play, and all I can say is Charlie hustled my ass. I was the one that hustled on the thing.
It is 2 strikes on Willie Wilson. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
And there's Tug working on Willie Wilson, and then I had a flashback. Well, it wasn't too many years before that we had Willie Wilson in this ballpark and had worked him out when he was in high school, the year of the draft. It was the same year with Lonnie Smith and Dale Murphy. And we had worked Willie Wilson out here, and I said, my God, you know, if we'd have drafted him, he wouldn't be out here facing Tug the last out. And I said, you know, all these thoughts.
He got
Willie Wilson up there, I was at the door. I wasn't throwing no longer. And Irish looked at me and said, "You're up throwing." I go, "Irish, I'm ready." And the odds of him putting me in this game right now, and Irish looked at me and said, "Well, you're right. I want to be the first one out of this bullpen." So I was the first one out of that bullpen.
That last pitch could have been either a grand slam, but it ended up being a strikeout. It was a fastball right down, Peggy Lee right down the middle, and it was, you know, if it would have been me out there, it would have been a grand slam.
Well, the ballpark, the fans, the players, everybody remembered that so well. It was like it just happened yesterday. And it didn't matter whether you were on the 700 level in center field or whether you were standing where I was on the mound or anywhere in between. Everybody felt the same level of joy. There was no contest. Nobody could feel any happier than the next person at that moment. Our fans were throwing us beers. They wanted us to have let me buy you a beer, you know? And this might be the only chance we ever have to share a beer together. The only trouble is it was like bombs coming in. And so full beer cans coming at you.
Those are great moments, you know, to have 1 million people come out and honor you, you know. And
God owed it to Philadelphia. And we felt like we were carrying this huge torch for Philadelphia. And as much as that's saying, it's such a trite saying, yeah, we did it for our fans. And it was truly for all of us.
Once we got going, guys were yelling, they were standing up, waving. It was all playing it by ear. And with the exception of Tug, I'm sure everybody played it by ear. Tug, I think, had his plan in place. That whole speech he gave.
No, I was the last one to speak, and there were so many before me that said all the right things. Schmitty was wonderful.
I never saw so many sincere faces in that parade in my life as I did today. Take this world championship and savor it, because you all deserve it.
When I heard Schmitty talk, I said, how's anybody going to say anything that's going to be any more truthful and get to the core of all this any better than what Schmitty did?
All through baseball history, Philadelphia has had to take a back seat to New York City. Well, New York City can take this world championship and stick it, because we're #1!
It was definitely pointed towards the writers. A lot of the fans up there were offended, but, you know, they got over it.
Tugger was, I guess if I had a real special guy, I mean, they're all special to me, but I guess if I had a real special guy, Tug would kind of tug at me.
And Tug would ask me if I was pitching today. He'd say, LC, are you pitching today? And I'd say, yes, I am, Tug. And he'd say, so am I!
Well, Tug, you know, Tug is a little, I won't say crazy, he's a happy guy. He will always keep everybody in the up and...
Well, he's Irish, you know.
He continually asked me to this day, how did you know I could do that? And I said, Tug, I just knew your heart.
Tug jumps up in the air and that was it. It was the fans went wild. There was a celebration, and it's been going on for a long time, and certainly Tug's been celebrating for the last 20 years.
I don't want to offend anybody by saying this, but I think the ballpark is a lot like a church. I think it's a temple. It's full of spirit. And I don't necessarily mean that in a religious sense, but I'm talking about the spirit and the power among people. Oh man, when you're down on the field and everybody is intently looking for the best you've got to give them at that particular moment, how powerful is the human potential? And you're tired, it's been a long season, the guys, we're using every fabric that we have as professionals and as people to stick together and make this thing happen after so many 97 frustrating years. And everybody's like, come on, just this, don't let it slip away again, you know? And finally the moment came where for the first time in the history of the Philadelphia Phillies, the fans could go home and not have to put their head on the pillow at night and say, wait till next year. We did it! We didn't have to wait till next year, it happened.
Well, it's nice always to see the old-timers, you know, those teammates, and it's nice to be back in Philly again.
Well, this town right here, when they win, they go crazy. And that parade.
We had heard how good it would be because the Flyers had a great parade, but they said if you guys ever win it, you won't believe it, and it was unbelievable.
His Hardness, Marty Bystra. Greg Bluzinski. Lefty Steve Carlton.
You guys are unbelievable, the greatest fans in the world. Thank you.
Well, it's wonderful. I recognize a lot of these faces. I don't even recognize him. My memory's getting so bad. I think it says it's Gary Maddox, but I don't believe it. Good to be back.
After 97 years, the team we honor tonight brought this great city and you beautiful fans its first and only Baseball World Championship.
At the reunion, when Dallas Green took and put Pete Rose's jersey on first base, this was one of the classic ritualistic moments. A fallen hero gets lifted and folded and placed in such a gentle, simple way.
Here he comes again from the right field bullpen, the Tugger.
I didn't feel comfortable being separated from the other guys, but you know, and maybe the other guys voted me out, like survivors.
Thank you, fans. On behalf of Paul Owens and the 1980 World Championship baseball team, the Philadelphia Phillies, I want to thank you, fans, for being part of our 20th year reunion. Seems like a long time, but we are very, very proud of what we accomplished. I've been in baseball 45 years. I've been in Chicago, in New York, but nobody will touch the Philadelphia Philly fans. We love you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dallas. Not a one of us up here will ever forget The day after the Phillies won the 1980 World Championship, that unbelievable parade down Broad Street onto JFK Stadium for a rally before millions of fans is something that's etched in our memories forever, with a love affair between this ball club and you great fans. So let's reenact that parade down Broad Street right now as this 1980 World Championship team will take a victory lap around Veterans Stadium. Here they are, the world champions.